No one in Hollywood could have scripted a scene more shocking than the one that unfolded when Caitríona Balfe allegedly slapped Dakota Johnson, sending her to the hospital. What began as whispers of tension between Heughan's longtime co-star and his newly revealed bride exploded into a public altercation that left fans, reporters, and insiders reeling. The drama had been brewing for weeks. Heughan's decision to marry Dakota Johnson had already divided the Outlander fandom. Many fans, who had long cherished the idea of Sam and Caitríona's unbreakable bond, were blindsided by his choice of Dakota as his fiancée. Hollywood buzzed with speculation about how Caitríona might be handling the news. Though she remained outwardly professional, sources whispered about simmering tension, especially as the media dragged her name into every headline. By the time Sam and Dakota made a public appearance together, the pressure had reached a boiling point. The breaking point came during what was supposed to be a private, low-key gathering attended by industry insiders and friends. Witnesses claim that when Caitríona arrived, the atmosphere immediately grew tense. She and Dakota exchanged cool glances across the room, while Sam attempted to play peacemaker, keeping the conversation light. But according to multiple attendees, words were exchanged, sharp, cutting words that struck deeper than anyone could have anticipated. Then, in a moment that stunned onlookers, Caitríona's hand connected with Dakota's face in a loud, unmistakable slap. Gasps filled the room. Phones shot into the air as guests scrambled to capture what they couldn't believe they had just seen. Within minutes, shaky clips of the altercation began circulating online, igniting an internet firestorm. Dakota, visibly shaken, was escorted out of the venue. Reports later confirmed that she was taken to the hospital for evaluation. While insiders suggested the injury was not severe, the optics were devastating. The image of Caitríona Balfe, usually composed, elegant, and admired for her poise, losing control so publicly shattered the calm persona she had cultivated for years. The footage spread like wildfire across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Hashtags like #CaitríonaSlap, #DakotaHospital, and #SamDragged dominated trending lists worldwide. Fans who had once united around love for the Outlander cast now found themselves bitterly divided. Some defended Caitríona, arguing that the pressure of constant media speculation and fan expectations had finally pushed her too far. Others condemned her actions outright, calling the slap unacceptable and a betrayal of everything she stood for. The media seized on every angle. Tabloids plastered Caitríona's face next to Dakota's, painting the incident as a battle of Hollywood women over Heughan. Headlines screamed, from screen partners to rivals, Caitríona versus Dakota, and Heughan's bride sent to hospital after co-star clash. Talk shows debated whether Caitríona's actions were born of jealousy, betrayal, or pent-up frustration. Suddenly, the once beloved Outlander actress was being cast in the role of villain. For Caitríona, the timing couldn't have been worse. With Outlander's final season still on the horizon, she had been positioned to transition gracefully into her next chapter of acting success. Instead, she now faced a scandal that threatened to overshadow her career. Critics labeled her behavior unprofessional and toxic, questioning how this might impact her future roles. Hollywood insiders whispered about whether brands and studios would distance themselves, wary of associating with the controversy. Meanwhile, Dakota Johnson emerged as an unlikely victim. Though she had done nothing more than fall in love with Sam, she was now the subject of headlines casting her as the injured party in a love triangle turned brawl. Sympathy poured in from fans who felt she had been unfairly targeted, while others accused her of stealing Sam and provoking the fallout. The hospital visit, brief though it was, only added fuel to the fire, cementing her as the wronged figure in the narrative. And then there was Heughan himself, caught squarely in the middle of the chaos. Though he had not raised his hand or spoken a word during the incident, the scandal placed the blame squarely on his shoulders. Sam caused this, one viral post declared. If he hadn't blindsided Caitríona with Dakota, none of this would have happened. Fans dragged him mercilessly, accusing him of mishandling the relationships in his life and allowing a private feud to explode in public. By the end of the night, the slap had transformed from a shocking moment into a global scandal. What should have been a joyful chapter in Sam's life, the announcement of his marriage to Dakota, was now tainted by images of Caitríona's fury, Dakota's hospital visit, and the fandom's outrage. For three actors once celebrated as paragons of professionalism, the incident created a narrative none of them could control. And the question hung heavy over Hollywood. Was this a one-time lapse in judgment, or the unraveling of a bond that had defined Outlander and captivated fans for more than a decade? The fallout from Caitríona Balfe's shocking slap reverberated through Hollywood with a force that no one could have predicted. While Dakota Johnson recovered from her brief hospital visit, and Caitríona faced scrutiny for her actions, it was Sam Heughan who found himself at the center of the storm, dragged mercilessly by both fans and media for what many saw as his role in igniting the feud. The narrative formed quickly. Sam, once adored as the charming and diplomatic Scotsman who embodied Jamie Fraser's nobility, was now portrayed as the man whose choices had torn two women apart. Hashtags like #SamDragged and #SamToBlame trended alongside #CaitríonaSlap, painting him as the silent instigator of a scandal spiraling out of control. On social media, angry posts accused Sam of negligence. He knew Caitríona was under pressure, one fan wrote. He should have managed this better instead of blindsiding her with Dakota. Others argued that his decision to keep the relationship with Dakota secret for so long created the perfect conditions for an explosion. The betrayal, they claimed, wasn't just Caitríona's to bear, it was the fandom's too. Entertainment outlets latched onto the idea of Sam as the common denominator. One gossip blog headlined, "From Dream Hero to Scandal Magnet, How Sam Heughan Sparked Hollywood's Messiest Feud." Talk show hosts openly questioned his judgment. Was marrying Dakota worth the cost of his career and reputation? Was he selfish for allowing Caitríona, his professional partner of over a decade, to be blindsided so harshly? Caitríona, meanwhile, faced her own torrent of criticism. The slap was condemned by colleagues and commentators as unprofessional and dangerous. Some called for consequences, suggesting she might face legal action or professional repercussions. Yet amid the criticism, a smaller but vocal group of supporters argued she had simply cracked under extraordinary pressure. To them, Caitríona's outburst was less about violence and more about heartbreak, the culmination of years of speculation, fan expectations, and the suffocating closeness of her association with Sam. Dakota Johnson, in contrast, became the sympathetic figure. Paparazzi captured her leaving the hospital with a bruise faintly visible, her expression hidden behind dark sunglasses. Headlines painted her as the wronged woman caught in the crossfire of an Outlander-fueled drama. "Hollywood's cool girl takes the hit," one article read, portraying her as both victim and symbol of resilience. Fans who had initially doubted her relationship with Sam began to rally around her, condemning the vitriol directed her way. Sam's silence did not help. In the days following the incident, he refrained from making any public comment. His Instagram posts about whiskey promotions and upcoming projects were bombarded with thousands of comments demanding answers. "Say something, Sam," one fan begged. "We deserve the truth." Instead of quieting the storm, his refusal to address it only inflamed speculation. Was he protecting Caitríona? Was he ashamed? Or was he calculating, hoping the scandal would burn out on its own? Behind the scenes, insiders whispered about chaos in Sam's camp. His publicists, reportedly blindsided by the incident, debated whether to issue a joint statement with Caitríona and Dakota, or whether silence was the safest course. Meanwhile, sponsors and collaborators nervously monitored the fallout. His whiskey brand's social media pages, once filled with celebratory toasts and fan love, now bore angry comments about violence, betrayal, and broken trust. The backlash soon spilled into Sam's professional world. With the final season of Outlander yet to air, producers feared the scandal would overshadow the show's carefully planned farewell. Would fans still be able to separate Jamie and Claire's timeless romance from the bitter feud playing out in real life? Rumors even surfaced that promotional events might be scaled back to avoid awkward confrontations between Sam and Caitríona in public. And yet, amid the chaos, one undeniable truth emerged. Sam Heughan's once untouchable image had cracked. For years, he had stood above the fray, admired for his discretion and grace. Now, he was being dragged as a man caught between two women, blamed for not controlling the situation, and accused of betraying the very fans who had built his career. The questions swirling were brutal. Could Sam repair the damage? Could Caitríona redeem herself after such a public lapse? And could Dakota Johnson, unfairly caught in the crossfire, find peace in a relationship now defined by scandal? What was once a fairy tale romance had turned into a Hollywood cautionary tale. Love, loyalty, and friendship had collided in the ugliest way possible, and Sam Heughan found himself at the center of a storm that showed no signs of ending. The man once seen as Jamie Fraser incarnate was now being dragged in real time. Not for his acting, not for his projects, but for the tangled web of relationships that had spilled violently into the spotlight. And as the fandom continued to rage, one haunting thought lingered. In the battle between Caitríona and Dakota, the real casualty might be Sam's legacy itself.